We are
And
recording.
we are live, everybody. Oliver
that's
Manley's
awesome,
here.
man. Christopher Lim.
Holistic Entrepreneur Radio Show. We're here with Mr. Scott Bradley. Welcome to the show, brother.
Thanks for having me, Oliver. It's great to be here.
Oh, man, we are so excited to have you on. How's
No,
everything
it's
out
great.
there in, because you're in California, correct?
Yeah, out here in California, Southern California, actually. It's just, we are so spoiled to live here.
Like weather-wise, I'm assuming.
Weather-wise, we are so spoiled. And I say that because, you know, I went to school back in Boston College for 4 years, and I never appreciated this weather as much as I do now until I lived back east for 4 years.
Yeah.
So,
I'm
you know, to
sure.
be able to kind of walk out of my house and have beautiful sunshine, no humidity. You know, I think we're on average all year round around 70 to 75 degrees. No mosquito craziness or anything like that. It's just awesome.
That's perfect, man. I'm jealous. There's something, I mean, about the West that's always calling me out there.
Yeah, of course. The West Coast is where it's at. I lived in what's that called? West Hollywood for about a year. Right before my first son was born. So I know what you mean. I mean, we were. I've come from a swimming background, so we were swimming in February, outdoor pool. Where can you swim in February in an outdoor pool? I mean, you know, 11 in the morning, and you're in a pool outside swimming in the middle of February.
In
And that's the
February.
coldest season out,
I'm
you know, on the
jealous,
East
man.
Coast, right? That's the coldest season. Middle of February, you don't want to do anything in Toronto, Boston, New York. You don't want to do anything in the middle of February. You're ready to go crazy.
Well, you're originally from Boston, right?
No.
Or you went
Southern
to school.
California is where I was born. So I went to Boston because I was
Boston
recruited
College.
to play baseball
Okay.
there.
Okay,
Ah,
that's
good
that's the
baseball team.
connection I remember. Perfect.
Yes. So I played baseball. I actually was recruited that the freshman year, and then I had some back problems, and so at the end of my freshman year, I had to stop. And then at that point, I ran the Entrepreneur Society, starting my junior year, and did junior and senior year. So that was
Wow.
kind of my, you know, contribution. Wrote for the newspaper and all that fun stuff. But funny story about the weather. The first day of my second semester of freshman year, you know, obviously you go there and, you know, you start your freshman year, the whole thing, it's like it starts to get cold. And I think probably around mid-October was when the first flurry happened. And it was like, oh my God, it's snow. I've never seen this before. Which is just like so Southern California, you know, like, oh, you're a Southern California boy. But then like that first day of second semester, I remember getting out from my bed, and my roommate at the time had the temperature thermometer on his computer, and I would always check it like, oh, how cold is it today? What do I need to wear, etc. So I remember that morning distinctly. When I got up, I looked at the computer and I saw the number 2.
Fahrenheit. That's Fahrenheit.
Wait, is that 2 or is that 22? And
Like a single digit.
I looked at the door, and then I went back to the computer, and I said, oh my God, it is freaking 2 degrees outside. I have never seen this ever before.
That's
Not to mention that first, it was 2 degrees, but with the wind chill, it was negative 15.
Oh, yeah. Jeez.
You know, and here I am with my huge North Face, like walking off to class, and I'm just thinking to myself, what the hell am I doing here?
what the hell did you
So, you know, that
So
was
why
a-
BC? Weren't there any California?
Well, I was
schools that
recruited
were
actually.
recruiting you?
I was
Schools for
recruited
scholarship,
actually
or?
all around all the nation, everything from schools in the South all the way up and down the coast of California. And then at the same time, like one of the camps that I went to was the Stanford baseball camp, and I went there twice. And that's kind of like the big elite. I was a pitcher, so you know, it's pitchers, catchers, and center fielders is really kind of where the majority of the everything's recruited, and then they kind of like fill in with the shortstop here, the first baseman that can hit the home runs,
Right.
all of that. So
Mhm.
I was going at it with the pitcher, and by being in the Stanford camp as one of the pitchers, it's like they bring all the schools that do not compete with Stanford to this camp, and literally you have all of the college coaches from all around the nation there watching, probably anywhere from 250 to 350 of the top high school players all year, you know, all
Oh my
around the
God.
country.
Wow.
So you got flying in from the East Coast, from the West Coast, Central, South, the whole North. So you're not only competing with people, and they do basically run drills, and you get to meet with the coaches, and it's really awesome. But that's beside the point. But basically, the reason why I was recruited all around the country was because a lot of the coaches from the East Coast also were speaking to me, just as a lot of the coaches from the West Coast. So that's kind of how I ended up back east, because one of the coaches that was initially at Columbia was recruiting me, and then at the last minute, he moved over to Boston College, and then he gave me a call. So that's kind of how that all happened.
That's how you got tied in there.
Nice.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Well, that gave you a nice exposure to the West Coast or the East Coast for a couple of years. That's nice.
Yeah, it was definitely what I found really interesting about living back there that I didn't quite expect, or living out here on the West Coast, it's kind of like we're all migrants, if you will, because it's like we've all come from different areas. It's not like California's been around for hundreds of thousands of years, whereas like back in Boston, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, like what I found so fascinating and interesting is that the networks are so deep and so old.
Yes.
And,
yeah.
That what was interesting trying to break into them, because you almost felt like a total outsider, even though you were still there, if that makes sense,
Yeah, okay, yeah, completely.
Where you're kind of in this space where it's like, okay, you're at Boston College, but it's like you talk to kids and it's like, oh yeah, my dad's dad and granddad went to Boston College, and I'm like 6th generation BC.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Whereas like, where I was like, this is my none of my people, none of my family went there. I'm brand new. I played baseball, and that was it.
But those people, I mean, their roots are like deep into there. Yeah.
Networks, deep old networks, old money.
And so I mean, how did that impact your view of things in terms of like being in because you're a huge networker, and obviously that must have had an impression on you at a young age.
Yeah, some lessons learned.
Well, I would say this, that a lot of the networking that I did primarily in college was all through Facebook, and I think, Oliver, that's how we initially met around, I think, my junior or senior year.
It was 2000.
Back
I know
in the day.
It was 2006.
Yeah, 2006. That'd be in my college years, where back in the day of Facebook, where it was open, free flowing, everything was awesome, and it wasn't like a big. I feel like Facebook right now is like a big kindergarten place. It's not as fun as it once was when it first popped out.
Yeah.
And I say that because, back in the day, I could go and pop up a Facebook group and go, okay, entrepreneurs, and see all the different entrepreneurial groups, and basically friend request 300 people at one time, and, get acceptances. And it's like, once you got accepted, it's like, oh, I saw you accepted my friend request. What business are you in? What do you do? What are you interested in? And, at the same time, it's like they're being exposed to all your status updates at the same time. So it's like you had this synergy happening. And, obviously, if you've been on Facebook for as long as you and I have, Oliver, people that are watching this definitely know that the groups are not what they used to be.
The quality of it, and especially the discussion. There's so much.
Well, it's not so much that. It's more so the framework of the group in and of itself and how it functions. Where back in the day, it's like you as a group owner could create it, invite all of your friends to it. They could, join in the group, and then at the same time, you as the group owner could actually send an email out to that list as kind of like the group owned list that you had admin over. Yeah. And are you still there? It sounds like you guys have faded out.
No, we're here.
We're here.
Okay, it sounded like it faded out, so that's all I'm asking. No, but it's interesting about that because that changed a major dynamic that I used to always leverage within Facebook for marketing purposes, promotion purposes, promoting blog purposes. And so, all those little dynamical shifts that have happened over the long course of Facebook, it's so interesting kind of seeing today, and that was actually one of the items that I wrote down that I wanted to talk about. I posted an article today that, the Facebook stock price just, crossed less than $20.
Wow.
And, it's interesting how, what am I saying? How it's like you and I mean, when did you get on Facebook, Oliver? What year?
2006.
2006. Okay. I was on it like
Maybe
2005, early 2005, like January 2005, when it was,
just university, college.
Like the very tight-knit colleges in the East Coast, right? And as they started to grow and grow and grow, it's like, I find it so fascinating now that it's a public company and seeing how it's transformed, that what are the learning lessons from that whole process, and seeing I remember back in the day, like I think it was my junior year in college. I think, let's see, it would be 2006, 2007, when social ads first popped out. And do you remember that?
Is it when you would see like pictures of your friends within the advertisement sometimes here and there?
It was more so the ads, instead of showing up on the right-hand side, they showed up on the left-hand side under like 2 or 3 items on the left-hand panel. I'm blanking on what it looked like.
It changes so much. I can't even remember what it used to look like. Honestly.
I know, it goes so quickly. And so just a kind of a funny thing, back in the day of my junior year, I was promoting an MLM at the time, generating leads for an energy drink, and a new energy drink that was going to be launched. And at the time when I promoted, was doing Facebook ads, I could buy like 10-cent or 5-cent clicks like no other.
Yeah.
And, you know, I would do, you know, I think one of the campaigns that I ran in the period of time, I think I did like $200, and I got like over 200 leads. So it was like less than $1 a lead.
Wow.
Where today that's unheard of with Facebook.
You can't get that at all.
People are paying like $1.50, $2, $3, $4 clicks at this point. So
wow, $4 clicks.
Is it effective? I mean, I don't know the last time I've clicked on a Facebook ad.
Well, I think it depends on who you ask and how many campaigns they've run, either for themselves or for clients. And I'll be upfront with you and tell you that, you know, I'm not perfect on any of it. I'm kind of in that continual improvement mode, and in simple terms, I would say that I have yet to really master it. There are people who have
mastered it. For you to be saying that you have yet to master it, and you are the person I've been watching like as an example of how to use social media.
And social marketing.
And social marketing and how you're growing your network. I mean,
yeah,
I remember
a lot of the marketing that we did with our business was off of what Scott was doing.
Just influenced by what you were preaching. I mean, your philosophy on it. I'm just like, you know what, this is totally it. And I remember you were one of the first people on my Facebook that had like 1,000 friends, like years ago. And I'm like, how the hell does this guy have 1,000 friends? I have like 200.
Well,
right, and they wrote an article about you.
Like, I will explain that it was during my junior year, where I'll kind of like paint the picture for you guys so you kind of get it. That, you know, at Boston College, for my year, I was grad class 2008, May of 2008. The majority of the people that in my class, or, you know, the whole thing was, oh, I'm a finance major, right? And the majority of the people that I interface with in the business schools, like, oh, I'm finance and marketing, or I'm finance and, you know, accounting, or whatever. And what I found out is that a lot of the people that I interface with they wanted to go to the big investment banks and get the big investment banking jobs, right? Yeah. But it's like, you know, I was actually part of one of the Wall Street clubs, went down to New York and kind of started learning about why would you ever want to do that if you know, unless you wanted to get out. Like, for me, you know, I've lived in New York. I lived in New York like 2 months, and I hated it. Hated it. But I think in the end, the real reason why I had those 1,000+ friends, and it kept growing exponentially over time until they hit the 5,000 mark, was because at that time in my junior year, I was trying to figure out, you know,